What's up, everybody? Anthony here, Empire Music, empiremusic.com. Phone number at the shop, as always, 412-343-5299. Showing you another new, not just arrival in the shop, but a new brand. Ernie Ball Music, man. Super proud to have these in the shop. I said it in a previous video. I don't know sequentially how these videos are getting released, so maybe I should even have said that. But nonetheless, it's cool to see another iconic shape here in the shop. You know, we do a lot of work with Fender, P-Bass, J-Bass, iconic shapes. You know, really the history of bass and the history of music is within those instruments, or those instruments are within it. This is another one that's right up there with it. There's very few basses that and guitars that are just quintessential to the evolution of music. And believe it or not, the Music Man StingRay is also that, because it really was the entry point into active electronics. We'll get into that in a second. The model I'm showing you today is the StingRay Special 4HH. 4 obviously meaning 4-string, HH meaning 2 humbucking pickups in this. So typically when we think about a StingRay, we only have the one back here. That's sort of the traditional OG StingRay style, and that's really the definitive tone of the instrument. But adding this second humbucker here in neck position really expands the tonal palette at your disposal with a bass like this. And a quick aside, this was the model that allowed me to wrap my head around the beauty of the StingRay bass. We got a used one in about 2 years ago, and I fell in love with it. And I had literally brought cash into the store to get it the one day, and a young kid came in and got it, and I was really happy for him because it was his first good bass. And I was like, I'm so glad I ended up not buying it. I can always get another one. And that kid was over the moon to get that level of bass. But it just sounded really, really nice in all the positions. But having this extra pickup allowed me to get more familiar sounds that I'm used to, whether that be some of the more Fender-esque sounds, but also some of my other basses that I own. Just having the 2 pickups and the ability to switch through them, through the sounds, allowed me to reference what this bridge pickup does in the standard Music Man way. It just made it more clear to me. It was all the standard Music Man thing, that tone. There's a lot of brands like this. I won't name any, but basses that I love, and they're so iconic and so classic. But I just never was able to wrap my head around what I was supposed to be doing with the instrument, how I was supposed to be approaching it. And, you know, not necessarily a shortcoming of the bass, but a shortcoming of my own playing and my own limitations as far as what I expected to hear out of a bass. So this HH model is kind of near and dear to my heart. And obviously now that we're a dealer, you know me, it's only a matter of time before one of these makes its way into my collection. If it's anything like my P-Bass obsession, you know I'm gonna have a few StingRays sitting at home there shortly. Don't tell my fiance that though. It'll just appear out of nowhere. But anyway, I really do love some of the tones of them. So you have a vintage style top load bridge. The body material on Music Man, they list as select hardwoods. So that means we're gonna see ash. I would assume they're going to reserve that for the translucent or clear finishes, alder or poplar. None of those are weird woods to have tonally, right? And I think with the type of pickup that you have here, the active electronics, which again we'll get into in a second, that's gonna kind of take over tonally. So I wouldn't say tone woods aren't that important in that case, but anytime we get into active preamps, I think they're a little less important than what we would have with a passive bass. Beautiful roasted maple neck. It has a gun oil matte, satin, whatever you want to call it, finish on. This particular one has a rosewood board. We see rosewood, we see maple, we see ebony pop through here on the Music Man stuff. Compensated nut. 1 11/16 nut spacing. So if you're familiar with the Fender stuff, which is a strong point of reference here at Empire Music, modern P-Bass spacing is 1.652. Standard or vintage, not standard at all. Vintage P-bass spacing or width is going to be 1.75. Jazz bass will be 1.5. 1 and 11/16 equates out to 1.68. I only know that because Google did fraction of decimals for me. I didn't know that offhand, right? I love these tuners too. They're like a lightweight clover tuner, but they're tapered out from, if you can kind of see it there, they're like thicker over the stem side of it, and they taper out to like a thin exterior or exterior edge. They just feel really good and really solid. I really like that. Now to the electronics. So we have a 5-way switch on here, and that's getting through the different pickup positions. Back to that in a second. Let's get into the electronics as I mentioned earlier. Volume control, treble, middle, bass. So 3-band active EQ. If you're not familiar with what active or passive is, a passive bass operates with no battery. So you just have pickup, or you just have pickup volume, tone, pickup selector, or whatever it is. Resistors, capacitors in there, and just that's how we're changing the tone. In active electronics, you have a battery that controls this preamp that's down in here. So you have two 9-volt, so it's an 18-volt active system. That means headroom, and that also means a lot of cutting and boosting you can do with these frequencies: treble, bass, middle. Not selectable frequencies, so you're married to what the preamp's giving you as far as the Q range or the frequency range. When we talk about, hear that word Q, that means like bandwidth around a certain frequency. I don't know where these kind of center or exactly where we're cutting and boosting. I'm sure that information's out there. But that's really how that operates there. And there's a lot of positions on this. So I don't want this to make this too long of a video, because Lord knows I do that all the time. So where I kind of am liking the Music Man thing this week is treble flat, mids flat, bass slightly boosted. We're gonna leave that there for the rest of the video. Let's dive into some of the positions here, because this is really, really interesting. So you want your standard Music Man tone. We're gonna go back here in, let's call that position 1, back at the bridge. I don't know if they refer to that as 5 or 1. I think in Fender, that would be position 1. So position 1 here, all the way in the bridge. Now we just have this humbucker operating in really stock, standard Music Man sound. And these are neodymium magnets in the pickups, which is cool. That's a modern thing. Probably a little brighter than what we would see out of like an Alnico 5, or specifically a lower number Alnico, but not as bright as like a ceramic magnet. I think there's more content to it. Neodymium's nice. It keeps the weight down. For a dual humbucking Music Man, this thing's exceptionally light, probably hovering in the 8.5s. Very cool. So standard Music Man sound here. Position 1, just bridge pickup. Exactly what I think of in my head when I think of the Music Man sound on that. I'd actually boost bass a little more on that. Really, really digging that setting there for Music Man stuff currently. Again, I'm still a newbie to this stuff. Now, we go to position 2. So now we have these outer coils, these outer magnets going, or outer coils going. So, you know, what do you think of when we think of moving back here at the bridge and up here? We think almost like 70s kind of jazz bass. That's an easy way to describe it. And my mind went there when I looked at the diagram, but after playing them, it has its own thing as the only position that isn't some weird take on another sound, I feel like, is that position 1, because you're strictly in the Music Man thing. But you'll notice here, there's still that mid-range presence, but there's a little bit, there's just something different on there. So I wouldn't think of that quite as, now we're in standard 70s jazz bass. Notice specifically when we get to slap, the Music Man characteristic just takes over that. So again, to reference, position 1, straight bridge pickup. Position 2, outer coils. It is taking on some jazz-based character, at least easy to reference here at Empire Music being such a big Fender dealer, although we're very proud to welcome the Ernie Ball Music Man into the fold here. Now, middle position, position 3. That's all the coils on. So this is like the most full sound, I feel like, but it also gets the most like compression. You have these frequencies almost kind of canceling each other out in a weird way. I think it sounds very interesting. It is the darkest sound so far. I gotta say this, it is one of my favorite slap sounds. And that was the thing on the HH that I mentioned earlier, that where I was like, I gotta get one of those, because that's like maybe the best slap sound you can get. It's so good. Nice full finger style sound too, but you see what I mean? That compresses naturally, very easy, which is why I like it as a slap thing. Pretty cool. And then position 4, so now we have inner coils. What's that remind you of? Kind of 60s jazz bass, even though we're changing this, the neck pickup position. But we're going between, further away from the bridge, further close to the bridge when we think of the 70s here. So again, position 4, inner coils. It almost has like a PJ kind of thing. I've talked in PJ videos before where I love the sound of having the P pickup on full and the J pickup on like 90%. That gives me a lot of that. It's like the P bass character with a little extra brightness on top. But there's a PJ thing to that with a little bit more roundness to it, which I appreciate. It's one thing I hate with the PJ configuration, is how kind of brash and brittle that can be. This doesn't have all of that. Now I am boosting bass slightly. Turn that back off. A little closer to it, so let's keep that bass boosted. Sounds really good. And then position 5. So now we're just neck humbucker. What's that like? That's as P-bassy as you're ever gonna get out of a Music Man. You'll hear it right away, that tubbiness that kind of comes out. Very, very cool. I love that sound too. Just a very unique kind of take on the P bass thing. I love it. I love the versatility out of this bass. So just to recap, again, position 1, won't even say anything. Position 1. Position 2. Position 3. Position 4. I feel like I'm playing a Strat. Position 5. And then with some slap going backwards, position 5. Position 4. Position 3. Might be my favorite one. Shh. Said I wasn't gonna say anything. Position 2. And then position 1, standard StingRay sound. Very, very cool. I'm like in love with these basses right now. I love the HH configuration on them. So this one's in butane blue. We have a lot in stock at the time of filming this. Actually, maybe not in the HH, but there's gonna be a lot coming through the shop. We're really proud to have Ernie Ball Music Man here in the store, whether we're talking basses or guitars. Just another iconic brand to add to our already impressive list. I think Fender, Gibson, Martin, Taylor, now Ernie Ball Music Man. It's nice to see him in the shop. If you have any questions at all, give me a call, 412-343-5299. You can email me directly, anthony@empiremusic.com. See you next time. Thank you.